make their way into? Well, it's just in general positions of power and control, but specifically those industries. And they go on to describe what these people are like, and they say they're very smiley and enchanting when you first meet them, and there's ultimately no depth to their personality, and they don't have any long-lasting relationships with people. And I was like, that's like every employer I've ever had, bro.
Kind of explains the middle management caste, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, what are we in India? Is there a caste system here? I'm a psychopath, so I'm going to be a manager. You know, I'm going to be outsourced. Apparently they don't have enough psychos in the United States, so I'm going to go and operate a call center over there and be really mean to everybody and sexually harass them.
Yeah, I think there's probably one industry that they won't need to outsource from the States. I think they'll have enough psychopaths to staff for everyone a day.
Yeah, man, our psychos are the best psychos. USA! Yeah, I said the other day on Facebook, because this problem's endemic. It's systemic. It's endemic. It's a pandemic. All right, and if there's psychopathic scumbaggery all over the place, you know, of course it's here in New Zealand. Of course it's there in the States. Of course it's freaking everywhere. It's in China, India, South Africa, wherever the hell you want. Psychos are running the show, pretty much. All right, just a sweeping generalisation, again, backed up by the word allegedly. And New Zealand is so freaking corrupt. Like, I've just talked to so many activists who just been really badly shafted by the system and had all the rules violated, you know, like as if they didn't freaking exist, like it wasn't even there. Like rights didn't exist, like lawful due process didn't exist. Like, detention with a warrant of some description and actually being told what you're arrested for, being able to use the internet and things of that nature after your bail conditions are out. It's just really messed up crap going on in this country, man. So corrupt. And it's not being reported, okay? Which makes me believe, now this is what I was saying before, is that New Zealand is so corrupt that no corruption gets reported. Because all the people in this country whose job it is to expose corruption are freaking corrupt. It's a perfect cycle. It's got locked up, stitched up, everything happens. Okay, you know, what was the receivership deal? Do you know who Michael Stiassny is?
No, it's a new one.
All right, personal friend of John Key. You'll like him.
Yeah.
All right. Have you ever heard of a company called Collaborators?
No.
Have you ever heard of the Crowfar Farms?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much one of the biggest land sales in this country's freaking history and whatnot. And the option, okay, and the options were, who are we going to sell them to? We can either sell them to the Chinese, or we can sell them to a New Zealand conglomerate headed by Sir Michael Fay. What's Sir Michael Fay famous for? He's famous for buying up heaps of stuff and then selling it off to the Chinese. That's what you call a Faye Dunaway. And then there was, what's his name? Alan Hubbard. They put him into statutory management without one single phone call. No investigation of any kind. And the Justice Minister at the time, who signed off on it, Simon Powers, wound up becoming one of the heads of Westpac Bank. Who does all the government banking for Westpac Bank? Oh, well, you get the idea. I just kind of messed that one up. Right. So don't you think that's a little bit corrupt or something? And the receivers and all of that kind of stuff for both of those really corrupt kind of things going on, you know, lots of scumbaggery involved. Quartermentha, almost everything. And John Key gets personal sign off of that, and then he calls his mate and Michael Stiassny again, allegedly, comes in, racks it up, lines their pockets up and just takes it away. And nobody notices because it's so corrupt, it's so brazen, out in the frickin' open that nobody would even believe it if you told it to them. It's that frickin' bad in this country. We may as well be run by frickin' Robert Mugabe at this point. I'm not kidding. Damn it! I'm gonna call Zimbabwe. Ask to speak to Mr. Mugabe and ask him to call John Key. Give him some tips about how to properly run a government. I mean, you never know. Could work out. Could be it couldn't be any worse than what we got going on now.
Yeah. Well, didn't Mugabe nationalise the farms? So we might.
Hey, he'd probably advise Mr. Key to get Quarter Mensa to do it. You know, there we go. You know, it's just so terrible. And again, if you're sitting in it, you don't even notice, do you? It's the frog in the boiling pot again, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
When did you start learning about all of this stuff? Because most people find this information quite shocking.
Bits and pieces of it. You just pick it up as you go. I guess. Ever since I was a kid, I was interested in this kind of stuff to a degree, and you just find little bits and pieces here and there and everywhere, and they kind of add up, or they don't, or they just, you know, it's just about paying attention and thinking about why things are happening.
Yep, that's your problem. Sounds about right, isn't it? You know, you need some medication, mate. You need to calm down.
Yeah.
I don't know my Facebook status just before coming on the show today, bro. Is I'd just love for one day, not to be ridiculed for talking about conspiracy stuff.
Yeah,
that'd be nice. Welcome break. You know, sunshine on a cloudy day kind of thing.
Yeah.
In the do what diddy dum diddy do way. It doesn't feel good knowing the truth and having people call you crazy for you or for it or just make fun of you. You know, like being belittling and that kind of thing, and thinking they're above you because they don't know anything and you know more than they do. It's really messed up. You know, it's not like I'm trying to be disrespectful or something, but people are frickin' stupid. Okay, it's a self-evident truth. All right, there was once resistance to it. There was once ridicule of the idea that people were frickin' stupid. Now it's a self-evident truth. All right, Gandhi was right all along. People are frickin' stupid. And for goodness sake, here's the terrible thing. They say because people are stupid, we need to tell them and no, not even tell them, but force them to do it. All right? We need to force them to do everything. Force you to pay taxes. Force you to pay your rates. Force you to comply with the law. All of this kind of BS, right? Nobody's ever teaching anybody to be what's that thing again? Maybe it happened in the distant past called personal responsibility. Maybe morality. Maybe sanity. Maybe actually giving a frack about anything that matters. I don't know. Shane, do you watch rugby?
Not a lot, no.
Neither. You know why? Because it's frickin' pointless. If I wanted to watch guys struggling to score for 90 minutes, I'd go to a bar. There is no fucking point in it. I remember when I was at a protest, Shane. 9/11 was an inside job protest. You reckon 9/11 is an inside job, yeah?
I don't, to be honest. But
still on the fence about it? All right, well, you know. Give or take. You know, I'll take what I can. Yeah. But anyway, this dude comes up to us and he shoves me, all right? Because I'm talking about how the 9/11 family started the 9/11 Truth Movement and how the governments cut them off from all their health benefits because the EPA said that it was legal for them to go into Ground Zero when all that asbestos dust in the World Trade Center was everywhere, right? All their lungs getting torn up and they're really sick. They're all the first responders are frickin' almost dead by now, dropping like flies. And government just denies it, no, we're not doing anything. I was just like, well bro, I was trying to speak out for those families who've been left in the cold, in the dust, right? And guy comes along and freaking shoves me. I couldn't believe it. And before that even happened, we're trying to hock out DVDs for people. Here's a 9/11 documentary. Here's a 9/11 documentary on a DVD. Here's a flyer about World Trade Center 7 and so on and so forth. Collapsed in free fall speed into its own footprint. The third building to get hit, and it didn't get to come down that day, and it didn't even get hit by a plane. And then this council douchebag with a jacket. This is right in the middle of the Rugby World Cup season, by the way, which is incidentally right in the middle of election season. I love distraction. and little council dude comes up in his bright yellow frickin' jackets and said that he's going to confiscate our stuff.
Right.
All right, we're handing out information in the street, a public street, expressing freedom of speech. And not only does he say he can confiscate all of our DVDs and flyers and megaphones and everything like that, but he can even prosecute and fine us. I was just aghast. I even saw that exact same dude at a protest, not a week later, telling protesters within the protest who were hawking out frickin' flyers to other protesters during a protest that they can't do it. It was frickin' nuts. And I can't believe that people get so distracted so easily by sport.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember one rugby game I was watching. I got so bored watching it on TV with my flatmates that I started counting the advertisements. There were 97.
Right.
97 in a commercial-free, uninterrupted Sky Sport broadcast. That's not about the sportsmanship, ladies and gentlemen. It's about the money and distracting your dumb asses from anything that matters. Okay? Incidentally, that was during election season, and we had the lowest voter turnout since 1886. 1886, you say? Wasn't that before women's suffrage? Yes, it was! So women couldn't even vote back then when the voter turnout was that low. It's unbelievable! And guess who wins in by a landslide? And guess who gets left out in the cold? Eh? And guess what all the papers were saying, all leading up to that election? Oh, should we renew or should we refresh? Yeah, let's elect John Key. Oh, all that other Labour stuff's just terrible. Oh, New Zealand Herald prostituting themselves. I mean, it's almost like I've developed a hate. I don't think it's too strong a word for douchebag journalists. Like, I have a real disdain for them. They're so frickin' stupid. They're frickin' arrogant. They're rude. They're pushy. They're overpaid, underskilled, and undereducated. This makes me not like them. I think that's a pretty fair assessment of the situation, and I think my reaction's perfectly reasonable. Am I wrong, Shane? Am I throwing the baby out with the bathwater here?
Well, if we stick to the Herald, then yeah. Internationally, there's some papers that are reasonable. But yeah, locally, I'm not particularly thrilled with what's on offer.
It's like, you know what the New Zealand media scene reminds me of? It reminds me of what my brother was telling me about. No. My mate Jono was telling me he took his missus to Rarotonga, right? And they go to the fish market at midday. Bad move. There's a hell of a lot of fish on offer, but it all smells like crap. That's the New Zealand media scene in a nutshell.
Right.
It's like a fish market at midday in Rarotonga without air conditioning or ice. It just stinks to high heaven. It's a bit cruel, isn't it? Or accurate,
yeah.
One of the two.
Yeah, well, it's just, I think a big part of it is the priority of the organisation too. It's basically destined to be lowest common denominator it's about getting into as many times as possible, so you can charge as much to your advertisers as possible because your circulation numbers are as high as they can be. And so the way to do that is with the simplest, basically to try and make sure there's no effort required in having to read anything that's in there.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why I like actually this show in particular. Like one time I was listening to, I don't know, I just felt like I wanted to listen to some talk radio, you know? Turn on one channel. Oh my God, these people are so dull, they're so boring, they're talking about nothing. They're talking about cats up trees and cooking cupcakes and crap, you know? It's just not worth my frickin' time. And then you turn over to another one, and it's a fear-mongering parasite that just fills your head full of this yelling and screaming and the, oh dear God, everything's terrible. Let's switch that off. You go in another one, and it's just some kind of ethereal wench eccentricity fest. You know, some new age cult frickin' tone of voice that makes me want to stab myself in the earlobes with a very, very pointy screwdriver indeed. Okay? It was that painful. And then I started listening to my show, and before I knew it, I'd listened to 6 commercial-free broadcasts in a row.
Right.
Because it's actually quite fun to just sit back and listen to two people like they're at a cafe, kind of having just a conversation. You know, it's not overly produced. It's not boring. You know, there's interesting stuff being talked about every single episode, and